welcome to the Red Brick House. I have been wanting to make myself a couple of shirts. If you've been following my videos, you know I've been trying to make some handmade things and kind of replace some things in my closet, especially as I lose weight. I want to have some garments that I can love and cherish and mend and keep for as long as they will last. And so I have found this pattern a few months ago. I had bought it at Joann's and I liked it. It's a cute shirt, but I started thinking when I got it out, I got ready to make a video about this particular pattern, and I got everything out and I started looking at it, and then I realized something that I think is worth mentioning. I think that if you're going to go to the time and spend the extra money to buy, really good quality fabric, and you want these things to last a long time, I think it needs to be something that you absolutely love. Like if you're going to make it yourself, I think you just need to love it. And I was looking at this pattern and I was like, I can change the sleeves, and I don't know if I like the sides. I might change them too. And then I started thinking, do I really even want to use this pattern? Because it doesn't fit me. It's a little bit too small for me, and I would have to fix that too. So it just seemed like I would basically just be making my own pattern anyway. And I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. I just didn't love it. So I'm not going to make this, at least not right now anyway. I have changed my mind, and I'm going to attempt to draft a pattern for myself for a peasant style top. Peasant tops are my favorite kind of top. In the past, I've had several of them, and I have one that's a little bit too big, and I'm going to use it to kind of get some measurements from it, and I'm going to attempt to draft my own pattern so that I can make a pattern for myself that fits me, and that I can use, in the future. If I lose weight, I can just slim it down a little bit, So that is my plan for today's video, but let me show you the fabrics. I got both of these fabrics on sale, on clearance at Hobby Lobby last fall. They were, I guess they were spring colors or fabrics, and they were, trying to get rid of them. I don't know, but I bought them pretty inexpensive. I think they were like 75% off or something. But I bought 2 yards. At the time, I did not know what I was going to make with them. They are 100% cotton. I think this is a beautiful pattern, and it's looking more green on camera. It's kind of I don't know, it's kind of like a robin's egg blue to me, but with a little bit of extra green mixed in, if that makes sense. But it is looking a little more green on camera than it is in real life. And then I got this kind of like peachy melon color. Also, it's looking much brighter on camera than it is in person. But also, I liked the pattern. I liked the colors. This should be fun. I think these will, hopefully, if they turn out right, they'll look really cute and be a good addition to my wardrobe. I start out by measuring across the width of the shirt that I'm using as a guide. Next, I measure the length from top to bottom. These measurements will give me the size of the rectangle for the front and the back. Then I move on to measuring the sleeve. It will also be cut out as a rectangle. I have this very bright fabric that I bought when Hancock's went out of business, so I have had it for quite some time. At the time, I wanted it for my 3-year-old's daughter's birthday dress, and I had a lot left over, so it's perfect for a mock-up. I measure across for the sleeve first and mark it accordingly, and then proceed to cut it out. Now we have a sleeve. I'm going to wrap this around my arm and see how it fits. Now then, this is for the front and the back. And I am measuring it on the fold. So before I had measured 31 inches across, so I'm going to cut that in half. So we'll do 15 and a half across. And I do need a seam allowance on both sides because I did not figure that into my original measurements. So that means that I'm going to add an inch. So we'll do 16 and a half. And I'm just putting this random mark here. So 25 will be right here. Okay, to get my measurements of where to cut in this line right here on my rectangle. So if you went up like this would be the rectangle like what I have right now. And so I need to cut off this section off of this fabric over here. So what I'm going to do is I've measured across here, and the top of the shirt, it comes at about 8.5 inches inward. So on my other fabric, I'm going to put a dot there. I'm actually going to give myself a little more. I'm probably going to give myself 9 just for a seam allowance and just for extra. And then down here, you can see it comes down to the armpit at about 7.5 inches. So I'm going to give myself a little more, and I'm going to put a dot on my fabric at 8 inches. And then I'm going to kind of just make those dots meet each other when I cut. So that will give me the amount of material I need to cut off right there. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. I'm not a dressmaker or a pattern maker, y'all. So I'm just doing my best here. So this is just an experiment to see how it goes. Okay, so I have a dot here and a dot here. So like I said, I'm just going to cut and kind of curve my way up to that dot, and I might redo it. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the back that I did on the front panel. I'm going to cut it in the same way. Okay, my sleeve looks bigger than this sleeve because I have a seam allowance, and then I also, this is kind of a stretchy material, so I just made it a little bit wider just to be on the safe side. But I think laying this up here is going to be my best option, really. It's really hard to tell because, you know, this is gathered in with elastic. So it's really kind of hard to judge just by measurements alone. So this is just a guesstimation. I put a dot here to allow for a seam allowance, and then on this shirt, you know, here. And then I put a dot up here. So I'm going to curve that line, match those two dots up, and hope for the best. That looks very, that looks like a lot. That looks like I took off a lot. I don't know. It's just a mock-up though, so it's okay. It's not my actual fabric I'm going to use. Now comes the exciting part of putting the shirt together. With right sides together, I line up the sleeve with the arm cut out on the front panel. Okay, we have our first sleeve attached now. I'm going to attach the other side of the sleeve to this side. I work my way around the top, sewing sleeve to panel and then panel to sleeve. Okay, so we have the sleeve over here. We'll just call this the front and that the back. And now I'm going to add on the other sleeve, putting right sides together. It's getting a little bit easier now to piece this together. Okay, now I have just a big swath of fabric here that is about to get put together. So I'm going to take this side and I'm going to match it up to this sleeve. Again, putting right sides together. And this is the last one. And then I should have a shirt, except for the side seams. Okay, now I'm just going to line these up and I'm going to sew up the side seam and up this little, I felt like this should be longer, I don't know, but I'm going to sew up like that, up the arm. Okay, this is the first try on and it does fit. I think it'll be better if I had some elastic because that will pull it up more up here on my shoulders, but I think it's too big. I think it's too wide because here's my actual waist. And I mean, if I wanted it to be kind of puffy and then put some elastic through here and then have this kind of like skirt out a little bit, I think that would be cute with this pattern. I could do that. I could gather this in like that with elastic. I would have to make a casing, I guess, and then sew it to the back of this fabric. I guess that's how I would do it. But anyway, I could do that. And then it would kind of be like a little skirt here. I think that would be super cute. That's an idea. Or I'm just gonna know on my, I'm gonna mark on my other pattern to take it in, I mean at least an inch on either side. And that would put it at about right there. Let's see. About a thumb. That's about 2 inches. And that's about 2 inches. So, and then I think still that would be plenty big on me. Maybe not on my hips though. I do have to be careful of that because my hips are bigger. So if I took out an inch, I could take out an inch right there on each side, and that might fit a little bit better. But I've also seen them where they come down and then they end with elastic at your waist, so you can wear them with skirts and things. That's another idea. So if I did pull it in with elastic, it would just look kind of puffy, and I think that would be cute. So I don't know. I think I'm just going to mark on my pattern that if I want a long shirt, to make it a little bit smaller. Or I could tailor it a bit and take it in here on the sides. Like make the pattern, instead of it being a straight rectangle, I could just kind of bring it in and then out a little bit for the hips. I think I'm gonna go ahead and proceed with this. And I'm going to put in some elastic so it draws it up and I can see better what it's supposed to look like. So it's not doing this number here.
I make the casing for the elastic by folding over the raw edge and then folding it over again and sewing it in place.
Okay, the elastic helps a lot to pull it up and kind of like make it where it's supposed to be. I still feel like it's big, y'all. It's big. But it's not terribly big around my waist. I mean, my hips. So I think I'm going to try to take a little bit out just up here. So I'm just going to trim off that pattern that I made, just barely, just maybe a half an inch, maybe an inch on each side, because I mean, really, I got a lot still. So I think I will do that, but I'm going to make 2 different shirts in 2 different styles. So one of them I'm going to put elastic in the waist to kind of cinch this in, and then have the skirt to kind of flare out. So I think this one just comes down to my hips, but I think for that one I'm gonna make it longer, so it'll be more like kind of like a tunic, maybe not quite that long, but that is my idea for this blue fabric here. And then for this melon colored floral print here, I would think it would go good with the green reversible skirt. I made the green side. I think this would look really cute with it. So I think that I want to make it not cropped. I'm not wearing anything cropped, trust me. But I'm going to make it come to my waist and have elastic there. And I think it'll be really cute. And the sleeves, I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with the sleeves. I have some ideas, but let's stay tuned for next week to find out, because I just don't want this video to be too long if I started making these shirts now all in the same video. So if you have been wanting to make your own clothes or make your own patterns to fit you, just try it. You know, what do you have to lose? If you have some fabric like this that you don't love at all and you kind of want to get rid of it anyway, you can make a mock-up of it, use it that way. I'm probably not going to finish this shirt off. I'm probably going to harvest the elastic out of it and then just, I don't know, use it for scraps or something. But it was good to have some fabric like this that I didn't mind, using for this purpose. But if that is your desire and you choose to do that, but you're not sure how to do it, pick something simple. Like this peasant top is very easy to put together. If you have a pattern already planned out and you know what to do, like when I go to make these 2, I think it's going to go pretty quickly. Like I can probably make one in an afternoon and, a couple of hours. So just pick something simple and just try it. Put it on your body, take your measurements, and just see if it works. This worked out pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. So I'm going to end the video here. It's a little bit different of an ending of a video for me, but I really want to dive into these 2 little tops for next week. So if you want to see me make these and how they're going to turn out, then join me next Thursday and we'll see how these look.